This is Centered, where faith meets everyday life. Our hope is to invite you into a better story, a story where you're made new through Jesus, living with God-given purpose, and experiencing peace, joy, and freedom. Together, we'll explore what it means to keep Jesus at the center of where we live, work, and play, bringing beauty, meaning, and renewal to every part of our lives. Thank you for joining us. Here are your hosts, David and Ben.
Well, hello and welcome to the Centered Podcast. My name is Ben. I'm joined by David. What's up, David?
What's going on?
You know, I just realized I'm really bad at introducing us. I introduced Andy last week.
And you're like, oh, I'd never introduced
And I was
him.
thinking about that. I was like, yeah, I don't really say like our names.
Our introduction introduces us.
It does introduce us.
It does say, which
That's
last
true.
week it
Take some
said,
pressure off.
with here's your host, David and Ben. And it was Ben and Andy.
And it was not.
It was not David
Which
and
is
Ben.
why I immediately clarified
Yes.
that you had not grown hair and shaved your beard.
Right.
But it
Not
was a
David.
different person.
It was a different person. But today,
yeah,
David is here.
that's a good point. I
I'm
guess
back.
I don't need to introduce
I'm
us.
back,
I
baby.
feel a lot better actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
I felt like a failure.
No,
And
I didn't.
now-
I've never even noticed it.
Now I feel really
Feel like you
good
do a
about
good job.
myself, which is not hard to do, honestly. I usually feel pretty good about myself.
What'd you think about that Broncos game?
Was there a Broncos game on Sunday?
You know exactly
On Sunday?
what I'm talking about.
There is no NFL season
Dude,
right now. It's baseball.
broke records.
Dude,
I just heard that was the first time in NFL history that 33 points were scored in the fourth quarter.
that must mean they had a pretty terrible first three quarters.
They 0 to like 24 or something. Like that.
I'll give the Broncos their flowers. I'll give
You want
the
to talk
Broncos
about the
their
Raiders
flowers.
now, or how do you want to?
You know what I
how do you
wanna
want to
talk
handle
about?
this?
The GOAT, the greatest of all time, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
We had a worship night on Friday night, which
Yep.
was
Amazing.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
a great night of worship and prayer. And what
and
happened?
Ohtani wasn't there.
What happened during that though? He pitched 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, and hit 3 home runs
Man, yeah,
in a closeout game.
against the Bruins.
Brewers,
Oh,
yeah.
Brewers, yeah,
Brewers,
that's
yeah.
who it was.
So I don't. The NFL season hasn't started.
That was
in my mind.
Wasn't that a record too?
Oh,
Something.
Yeah, so many records.
Yeah,
He did. Baseball's been around like 120 years, and he did multiple things that have never happened.
I actually had a Brewers fan tell me that this morning.
Through his
and then
tears.
and he looked at me and he goes, "You look like a Dodgers fan." That's what he said.
You know,
I was like,
That's probably the
"Dude,
nicest compliment.
Your son called me the Ohtani.
He did.
Of
He called you
lead
the Ohtani
pastors.
of pastors. Yeah.
Yeah, which I was pretty. That's a pretty big
that's high
compliment
praise.
coming from your son.
Yeah, I don't think he realized. Like,
Yeah.
you got a high bar now.
No,
You got.
I don't think he would say that now. That was like a year ago. He's like, never mind.
He's like, yeah,
He's-
no, he's a great hitter or a pitcher, but both. I don't know.
No.
That's a lot.
That's a
lot.
little too much.
That's what I'm really focused on that.
Okay, so football hasn't started. Well, that's
Yeah.
good because
I don't think there's going to be a football season.
Someone
this
got a
year.
bagel this week. I don't know what team that was.
I don't think there's a football season this year.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That's what you heard. They put all their energy into the Dodgers.
You know, as
LA
they should.
could only have so much energy.
As
Well, if you
they
guys
should.
didn't steal everybody's football team,
Hey,
you know?
whoa, that sounds like some Chargers energy.
and the Rams. I was
The Rams. Were
I know
in
they
LA
started there.
Yeah,
I know.
you can't
they
use
started
this
there.
argument.
But I moved to St. Louis. I hadn't had a football team for a while. I was excited, and then they left me.
You really need to blame. What was her name? Fontaine.
Yeah,
That's whose fault. it
I know.
is.
I know. It's not your fault.
It's
not LA's fault.
I reject the
Yeah.
blame. Hey, man, what a great Sunday we had. Followed by a great, or on the heels of a great Friday.
Yeah, the worship night was great, man.
Yeah, I thought it'd be worth at least spend 30 seconds on that. Like,
Yeah, shout out. You know what I was, I think you told me this, that we've never had like a prayer and worship night here in this building.
Not once.
That's crazy. So
And somebody told, I think it was Karen that told me that.
told you that.
Because
yeah.
I only know, like, I've been back for
Post-COVID.
6 years. So it's like right before COVID.
Okay,
we
right
came
before
in.
COVID, yeah.
But we were in this building, I think, for 2-3 years before I got here. So
Got it.
I didn't realize that myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's amazing. I think people received it really well, and it was good to just stretch out a little bit and spread our wings and have some room to connect with God and reflect. And
yeah, it was I don't know. I felt like it was a powerful night for people and a lot of good feedback and something we're going to do again.
Yeah.
So
coming up,
be on the lookout.
be on the lookout.
Yeah.
I heard through the grapevine that we might be like late winter.
Late winter.
Late
The grapevine?
winter. The grapevine.
I thought you were the one who told me that timeline. You're the grapevine.
I'm the grapevine.
All this time I've been wondering, who is this grapevine?
We're going to talk about the vineyard today. We're going to talk about the grapevine.
That's a good, wow.
Yeah.
What a great segue into
the cutting room floor.
Cutting room floor. Now, I got to confess, two things
Yeah.
as we get into the cutting room floor. One, I owe you an apology. We had a short timer.
Yeah.
The timer was 5 minutes shorter than it was supposed to be.
You guys tricked me.
And now, it is like one of the first times you've ever been like right on time. Maybe we just need to lie to you about the
I
timer.
actually like crafted my message to like be pretty close to that 35-minute mark. I was like, I had some things that I knew if I got to a certain time that I would skip
be right
over,
there
I would
and-
adjust, and yeah, and then it crept up on me.
It happens, and it happens when the timer's wrong. Second thing was, now I thought in the pre-service, you did your little devotional. I thought, maybe I heard this wrong. I thought you said there were 4 shifts. Just 3 shifts.
Just 3 shifts.
Okay, I misheard you. That's okay.
That's all right.
But I know there's stuff.
There's stuff we didn't get to, bro.
That got shing.
Yeah. Let's get to it. In that first shift, so we talked about, if you haven't listened to the full sermon yet, we talked about 3 shifts that we need to make to move from a worldly view of power to a kingdom view of power. And that first shift was moving from a sense of ownership to stewardship, where it's that we are actually tenants in God's world, and that we have a role to play in that. And we're stewards of life. We're stewards of creation. We're stewards of relationship. We're stewards of joy and fruitfulness. And like, we actually get to participate with God in growing the things of the kingdom here on earth, which is a beautiful call. I didn't get a chance to unpack that too much. I started to with the creation mandate, but I didn't get a chance to unpack that. But one of the things that I didn't get to in the idea of stewardship is the big shocking thing in that parable was not that the tenants killed the messengers.
Yeah.
That wasn't big shocking.
I agree.
The big shocking thing in that parable is that before anything happened, God sent 3 sets of messengers. And that's that is a very symbolic number in Jewish culture. And what it really represents is God's patience.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Messenger.
God was patient. God has been patient with his people. And that and it's interesting if you look at what it takes for a vineyard, in order for a vineyard to produce good wine, it needs time. Right. So you have to have multiple crops and multiple seasons. And so it says that God or that the man was away for a long time, which is a little deceiving. It's like, oh, he was just uninvolved in that. And the reality is he was actually being a good vine dresser. He understood what good wine took, and that there was no expectations of him from his tenants for that first amount of time, because he knows that wine's not going to be good for a while. And so he gave plenty of time so that the wine would be good. And I think that's one, I think it communicates. I think Jesus wants to communicate the heart of God, and that God, sometimes we confuse God's delay or God's patience with his uninvolvement.
Yeah.
And it's really not that at all. It's actually that God wants to produce the best in us. And so he's patient with us. That it's not that he's not involved with us, but he actually gives us time to grow and become the people that we're called to be, not just demanding from us. You know, it would be like
Instantly.
demanding your 6-month-old walk. You know, like you would be a bad father if you did that.
Spanked him.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Yeah, you spanked him for that.
doing?
So it's actually a really cool picture that Jesus is trying to communicate of like
Yeah.
God's patience towards his people over and over and over again. God sent prophets and teachers and judges and leaders to recorrect or reorient his people back on the right track. And over and over and over again, the people just continued to rebel. And that's a big part of that chunk. So.
Well, I feel like that's a great symbol of just our everyday lives.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like we often view God's patience as his absence.
Right.
You know, where are you, God? In the
Right.
midst of our trouble, in the midst of whatever we're anxious about or, fearful of, or the medical diagnosis, whatever it is, the hard things in life. And, man, God just has this patience that he exercises that we dislike in those seasons. But he is allowing us to experience the growth necessary for that season.
Yeah.
And so it's
He's
a really
producing a better wine.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, hey, wine gets better with age, they say,
does.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as we, as God is, quote, absent in our minds, he's actually, we're mistaking his absence for his patience, or his patience for absence.
Yeah. And that's true with all fruit. Like a tree that produces fruit for the first time, it's called the first fruits, is actually not the best fruits. It's over time as that tree grows and gets, the nutrients it needs.
Hold on. I've always take the first fruits to the storehouse and give God your first and your best. But your first isn't always your best.
First
is that what I'm
isn't
hearing?
your best. It's not the best. Yeah. And that's a misnomer. That's something we've attached to that idea. And it's actually
good.
But here's what's interesting. It's actually that God demands less from us than he should.
Oh, ooh.
Which is a huge thing. So when we bring the first fruits of a crop or tree or a harvest, or even of our like cattle's, lambs, things like that, it's usually not the best.
Dude, the first fruit of my day is absolutely the worst. I'm so bad in the morning. So this all resonates.
It
so
all
well.
resonates for you.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. That you get to give it. He's not demanding from you. And I just put in here, God's patience is mercy, not weakness. And we never want to assume that just because God's not answering in the way that we think he should be answering, that God's not working. And that's a huge principle that I think not able or not strong enough to do something. He has something better. And I think a lot of Christians struggle with that. They struggle with their prayers not getting answered the way they think they should be answered. And they assume that because of that, God's absent or weak. And he's neither of those things. He's present and he's strong. His end is better than ours.
Yeah.
So much better.
You know, well, we were talking about this in my life group last week, and just about answered prayer, and we're doing a study on the Holy Spirit. But I was like, man, I don't really question if God is able. Where I get hung up is like, is God going to do that in this situation? Like, will he do it for me? Not because he isn't good or doesn't love, but just, is that his plan? You pray for healing. Am I going to receive healing, or am I going to get something else? Which, even if in the worst of medical situations, if we die, ultimately we are healed.
Yes.
Because we're resurrected in Christ and we're made new.
Yeah.
And so, like, but we don't think in those terms, right? Because we're really fixated on what's here and now and the temporal. And so
one pastor says we're always going to be healed. It's either going to be through a miracle, it's going to be through medicine, or it's going to be through meeting Jesus. We're always going to be healed.
It's good.
Yeah. Which I love that. I love that view of that. And that is God's heart. And it is easy to confuse in our human condition, God's slowness as absence. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with that. And I've had tons of "Where are you, God?" prayers.
Oh yeah.
In my life. And so I don't want to sound super stoic, like, oh, if you're a good Christian, you just need to believe this. But I do want to bring it to our awareness that maybe God is doing something different than what you want him to do. Yeah. And if we believe that God is good, then that different is always going to be better than what we could dream or imagine for ourselves. And,
it's like, don't hear if you're a good Christian, but instead hear you have a good God.
Yeah.
And so we can rely on that and trust in that. And that when we are able to do that, which is not always, even the good Christians, like we have our moments where we struggle to believe or have faith in these moments. But when we do, it's transformative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the second part that I didn't get a chance to really spend a lot of time on was the pride piece, which to be honest, I was most excited about.
You said that was the big one.
I was,
and then you spent 2 minutes on it. No,
I know.
It was more than 2 minutes.
It was the big one, and I just lost. I lost 5 minutes, and so
some jerk
set my timer. But one of the things that we see is that a lot of theologians, when they talk about sin or the rebellion or what happened in Genesis chapter 3 when Adam and Eve rebelled against God, that at the root of that decision to disobey God was a pride. And really that pride is to put ourselves in the place of God. Mm-hmm. We want to have control. We want to be the determining agent and the factor.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm
Doesn't
in.
it sound like I'm in? I know I'm in. It sounds really,
Every
really
day I live like
good.
that, so might as well.
But one of the things, there are some misconceptions with pride. And I kind of like, I flew over these things, but one misconception, and maybe it's not a misconception, but maybe the misconception is this plays out in ways we didn't think it would. And it's this: pride is a preoccupation with self. And so you just think about that, but it's not just boasting. Mm-hmm. It's any preoccupation with self. It could be self-loathing. It could be insecurity. It could be,
yes, absolutely.
Pride just bends everything inward back into self. And so it always doesn't look like you elevating yourself above other people. Sometimes it could look like you putting yourself under people, but you're still preoccupied with yourself. Everything is about you. And that's really what pride does. And I love what Tim Keller says. He says, the essence of gospel humility is not thinking more of myself or less of myself, but thinking of myself less.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because I was gonna, if you didn't, I was going to.
Yeah. That's kind of his. But
it is a reframing of how I think culturally we think about humility. We do think of humility literally as thinking less of yourself.
Yeah.
And
it's not. It's just thinking of yourself left. And humility is actually a great power, because we have to resist the temptation to make it all about us. And real kingdom power actually helps us to be in humility. And humility actually helps us to enter into things and situations much more aware and clear and level-headed in a way that helps us navigate life better than pride actually does. Pride is actually a huge deceiver. It prevents us from seeing what's really right in front of us. And we, what's that phrase where you cut off your nose to spite your face or whatever?
Yeah.
Pride does that. Like we're not super aware of the impact that we have when we're operating in pride, but humility is a great power. You can walk into a room with humility, you'll see things that you can't see in pride. You'll be able to speak into things that you can't speak into when you're boasting or when you're elevating yourself up and above people. You can actually have an impact on how people behave and react when you come from underneath instead of from up above,
Right.
because they're disarmed and they
Right.
actually are open to that. So humility is an incredible power.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was thinking about you kind of touched on this. I was thinking about it, and then you touched on it, which was kind of interesting. But the pride of the tenants. If we kill the son, then we'll get the inheritance. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm the owner, you kill my son, I'm not going, I'm going to bring holy hell on you.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
You are not getting the inheritance.
Yeah.
But yet pride does this thing to us that we lose all objectivity.
Yeah.
We aren't able to see things for how they really are. We just see them through the lens of self.
Yeah.
And humility does just the opposite.
Yeah. And speaking of blindness, and I didn't have time to get into this either, but the irony of that statement is one, the tenants had already received the inheritance. So it was,
what more do you need?
and here's the other thing. They were actually referred to the inheritance of God, which means that their inheritance wasn't just land or possessions or wealth, but their inheritance was God himself.
Right.
And that's what they were missing out. And pride actually causes us to settle for less. We cut off our nose to spite our face, right? We miss out on what the actual real inheritance is. That little parable is actually filled with irony. Like there's all kinds of little like ironic things that are going on in there.
Yeah, well, I don't need God if I am God.
Yeah. Right.
Like I don't have a need for God if I'm self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I don't have a need for anything.
Yeah.
And so then we miss out on all the goodness that is God.
Yeah.
Because we think that we don't need that.
And I wasn't able to get there because I closed my iPad too quickly. But my little refrain that I was going to end on was this idea that whoever has God lacks nothing. I wasn't able to connect that dot, that inheritance dot. So I think that's why I didn't like go there with that. But that's honestly the invitation of that whole passage is if we only knew what we had, like if we only knew like how valuable and how much worth God brings into our lives, we wouldn't feel around and scheme around and kind of lunge at lesser things in life. And
you did say, if you want to experience the fullness of life that Jesus offers, you can't bring anything.
Right. Yes. You bring nothing to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is like a symbiotic relationship there, right? Like,
totally.
Like we can't bring anything.
Can't bring anything. Got to lay it down. And that's our boasting, our pride, but also it's our guilt or shame. Like we don't need to bring those things like either with us. We actually, if we can just let go of those things and grab a hold of God, we will have everything that we actually need. Wisdom, power, joy, freedom. Identity, freedom, all those types of things.
It's good. Yeah, I think it's time for some fun.
Okay.
Just for funsies.
Just for funsies.
All right, so I was thinking about the cornerstone language, and not necessarily the way that Jesus gave the metaphor, but I wanted to just kind of stick with more classic understanding of cornerstone. So what I want to do is throw out some things in whatever, life, faith, culture, just some things. And you, or we'll both, I guess, decide, are we going to build on it? It's a good foundation. Or are we going to reject it? It's a bad foundation. So we're going to call it build or bad.
Build or bad. Okay.
Build or bad.
Build or bad.
So, fall weather in Colorado. Build on it. It's good or bad.
I know what you're going to say.
You do know what I'm going to say.
Dude, I'm building. I love it. Even though I'm sick right now because I think the change of the seasons got
what
me.
It does to you?
Yeah, it got me. But dude, I love the leaves changing. I love the cooler weather. I love beanies and jackets. Like I'm all good with that.
Man, beanies make my hair hurt. And the sun is my friend.
Here's the thing about Colorado. Dude, we get sun like
Get a lot of sun.
340 days a year.
But 40-degree sun is not 80-degree sun.
Yeah. No,
Shorts,
I'm for it.
Flip-flops. Yeah, I'm bad.
I'm build for Comstock.
Bad. It's bad. All right. A perfectly executed dad joke.
Build.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love dad jokes.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah, and I was messing with Stephen Agee, who's about to be a dad, and I was like, we gotta work on your dad jokes, because I said one and he just went right over his head. It was sad.
We need to work on
I know.
some dad jokes.
We need to
we'll teach
help him out.
We'll teach
help
him some
out.
dad
You gotta
jokes.
be ready. Group texts.
Bad.
So bad. And let's just put it out there. If you're the one who thumbs up and hearts everything, stop it. Stop it. I don't need 50 notifications that just you heart and like it's there are
Group
times where it's
text should
appropriate.
be like information only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are times where it's appropriate, like we had a thing in our softball team and somebody apologized for something and everybody hearted it.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
appropriate.
yeah,
Like
that's
we're
appropriate. You're
acknowledging
appropriate.
like that's a good thing that you've done.
Hey, the game starts at 6:30. Like,
No,
just leave
just
it. Like,
leave
that's
it.
good. That's good.
We don't need a heart for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't love group text.
No. All right. How about church coffee that could strip paint off the foyer?
Are you trying to say something about broken pieces? What
No,
do you?
we have good church coffee.
We have good church coffee.
But I think we've all experienced bad church coffee.
Bad. Easy bad.
It's bad.
Easy bad.
David's a bit of a coffee snob.
A bit of a coffee snob.
Yeah, I'm less so, but even I say,
Even you say
no,
nay.
bad church coffee. Don't even
Nay
bother.
to
Don't put
the
it
bad
out.
church coffee.
Don't put it out there. 9-minute worship songs.
Bro, I'm gonna go. It's all about the moment. It's all about the moment. So, yeah, you don't want your opener to be a 9-minute worship song, but if you've gotten people there, dude, a 9-minute worship song could be great.
Mm-hmm.
Can be great.
Yeah.
But it takes work. Like you can't just throw it in the set. Like you have to curate that moment.
Yeah,
You have to
you
build
could probably guess based on how we roll. I'm generally bad. It's too much. It's too long. But there are times where it's fantastic.
Yeah, you got close this weekend.
We
had like a 7.5 minute.
Yeah, it was 7:20 something.
Yeah,
and but it's like to me too. How repetitive is it?
Yeah,
if it's like uber repetitive, that's a long time.
Yeah, that is a long time.
So,
but if you're like, in the spirit,
yeah,
you're prophesying over a body and yeah, like helping them to experience things, and it's almost like
beautiful.
Yeah, it almost like it moves from just corporate singing to ministry. A time of ministry, and so yeah, it has to be executed right. But yes. 9-minute song just for the sake of singing a song? No, bad.
You're a good father for 9 minutes.
No. Yeah, that's the other thing, dude. The song has to have a little bit of like, it can't just be like a 3-chord banger and you have to like,
well, a lot of those 9-minute songs are that.
Can't be that.
Are you kidding me? I can't sing this bridge for the 17th time.
I hear a 1-4-5 one more time.
I like a good 1-4-5, but you gotta mix them in. Okay. You may have guessed we're in the church section here. Just kind of throwing out some church things. How about some sick church merch? Build or bad?
Oh, build, dude. I love me some church merch.
Yeah,
dude. I represent.
Yeah, me too.
I have so many conversations about like our gear.
Yeah,
all the time out there. I was on a plane. Did I tell you this? I was on a plane.
So.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And I had the centered sweatshirt and the centered hat. And dude, I got to share my testimony twice on that trip because of that gear. Like my full blown, like God met me on the bathroom floor testimony on it. And one girl, I could tell she had not churched. Dude, she teared up and was like, "That's beautiful." If that's real, that's beautiful. I could tell was like her attitude towards that. So
yeah, I'm all about it too. And for those of us, this is a good man, if you're that person who's like, I don't have a lot of Christian friends or non-Christian friends, I live in the church bubble. Like, it can be the conversation starter to like actually have a conversation about Jesus with someone. So, if that's you.
Yeah, I was wearing my Good News hoodie the other day, and someone in Witch walking out, and I heard them as they walk out. They're like, "Good news!" Like they saw my shirt, like as I'm walking in. So
I've had people go like, "Wait, what's your good news?" I had somebody literally ask me, "What's your good news?" And I was like, "Oh, let me tell you, dude."
Got it.
Yeah. So sweet church merch. Mid sermon amens.
Yeah.
Oh
yes. Build, baby. I'm trying to get, dude. I thought
on the heels of
Miguel was gonna like change our people, but they didn't.
They went right back.
They went right back to White Littleton. What? Dang it!
I know. I knew you were gonna be Build.
Yeah,
you were gonna be Build. I'm good either way.
Okay,
I could go either way. It is nice though when the
talk to me, people.
What I don't
talk
like.
To me.
What I don't like is when the room is dead.
Yeah.
Like, amens are good, but laughter's good. And just any kind of engagement.
Yeah,
I like.
Engagement's good.
Yes.
But I even like the when you can cut the tension with a knife because something's happening there in that moment too. And so you gotta. It's got to be the right.
That's a kind of engagement too.
Totally. Yeah.
When
people
you
are leaning in and you can feel people the tension.
Yeah, that's an engagement. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be all like preach
rah, rah.
it and
yeah. It's not all rah
kind
rah
of stuff. You
sometimes just leaning in. Yeah.
It's good. Okay. The phrase "doing life together." What do you think? Build on it or is it bad?
Bad.
It's bad. It's good.
We should say build on it or boot it. we need to boot it. Yeah.
Boot that sucker.
Boot that sucker out.
Or I love the one, this wasn't on my list.
Love on people.
Oh, that's good too. Chris Lord sent me this reel about all these pastors saying, life happens best in circles, not rows. And that was like an Andy Stanley thing.
Yeah.
Every church just started saying, and he's like, I've never heard that. And I was like, that's right, you haven't.
Not here.
We're doing life together.
We're doing life together.
Okay, how about this one? When we say, I'll pray for you.
It depends.
Yes. Okay, I agree.
It depends because I've been working on, if I can, praying for them right there.
That's the only way I do it, man. I can't. I'm just not smart enough. My brain doesn't. There's too much stuff in there. And then if I see you again, it'll come to mind 70% of the time. Not even every time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I know, like, hey, I either need to pray for you right in that moment together, or if that's not the thing, I need to just stop and pray like the very next opportunity I get. Or I'm not going to do it.
I have a little prayer note on my notes. Prayer request on my notes.
That's smart. I don't. So if I say I'll pray for you, you might want to say to me, let's do that now. And I'll be like, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got, man. We build it.
Or boot it.
We're doing life together. No, we're not. Boot that sucker. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the message. Let me think here. Let's talk about the cornerstone stuff. Let's actually get into that, the metaphor as presented. You gave us kind of two options. Well, Jesus gave them, but you unpacked them. The first was falling on the stone.
You're going right there, huh? That's what you're starting out.
Bam. Go hard or go home.
Yeah.
Because it's a powerful picture. You described it like you're collapsing on Jesus and you're letting him break the things that are holding us back. So what I'm wondering is, like, what does that look like in real life? And how do we know the difference between, we've fallen on the stone or we've hit rock bottom?
Well, I don't know that falling on the stone or hitting rock bottom are different. I honestly think it's about what happens when you get up. That's what determines that thing. If you're right back in a place of pride, self-sufficiency, trying to live life without God, then you're probably going to get crushed.
Dang.
But if you allow those moments to be broken in a beautiful way where God is able to move in and put the pieces back together, and there's humility and there's an where you begin to want to orient your life and your choices around God's design for you and the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was my rock bottom, my rock bottom was me falling on the stone. And I knew that if I didn't let God break me, that I was going to die, legitimately. I was going to die. I was going to kill myself, or was going to, overdose. I was going to, I was going to be crushed, and there was no return.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that, but same for me. I wasn't like dealing with addiction or those things, but I grew up in the church, fairly religious. And I never, I knew intellectually that I need God, but I never felt like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I find myself, I'm 23, I'm divorced, I'm bankrupt, struggling, alcohol, all the stuff. And that's when I realized I needed God. And so it was the same. It was rock bottom, but it's also where I really, truly fell on the stone.
You need him.
Yeah.
You need him. And that is, dude, that word's great. Like that phrase, I need God. And trying to live life like we don't need him, that's where we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. It's the rich man.
Yeah.
The rich man doesn't quote need God, or that's what we're, sucked into, buying into that. But the reality is obviously that we do. So that's okay. That was the first image. The second image, the stone falls on you. I don't know why I just got the picture of Dorothy and the house just right on top of her.
It crushes you.
Yeah, it crushes you. It's intense. It's this idea of Jesus returning to set things right. So how should we think of that side of the image? And it sounds like it's not so much about fear, but about justice and Jesus reclaiming his rightful place. How does the promise of his return give us hope instead of fear?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I'm not a big, fear's not a great motivator.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It
actually causes
psychologically.
Psychologically, it causes us to be really irrational. It's a good motivator, but it causes us to be irrational in our motivations.
Right.
And so, the intent in that is not, the image is actually beautiful. One is an individual. It's the invitation for us to be broken on the stone. Mm-hmm. And the other one's more of a corporate. And the imagery that they would have known is when the threshing floor. So in order to turn wheat into flour to produce bread out of it and make something, that you could eat and could sustain you, is that stone crushing a wine, right? The grapes would go and you would have the stone meal that you would go down, and literally there'd be a big stone vat that would go down into the grapes and crush it, that would be the crushing. And so the idea, and that was another part that I didn't have time to really explain through, but the idea of the crushing is this: God's will is going to be done no matter what. Will you be a part of it? That's really the idea. He's going to bake bread.
You can be on top of the stone, or you can be underneath it.
He's going to bake bread. Will you eat it with him? He's going to make wine. Will you drink it with him? And that's really the imagery that is at play there, that I didn't have a lot of real estate to unpack it.
Dang timer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is good. That's helpful because
which should, and I don't want to, if you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, there should be a little bit of fear there when you do that. There should be some sense of man, what does that mean for me? And that's the question that I'm not afraid of people asking that question or making, I don't want to turn or burn or, that type of thing.
Sure.
But I do want people to feel the weight of Jesus's authority in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really easy to swing the pendulum too far one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
Turn or burn.
Right.
Or we don't talk about sin or anything related to it. And, I think it's healthy to have those conversations, but in a way that's like meant to be helpful.
Yeah.
In a way that's meant to like cause us to think.
Yeah.
And ask questions and try to understand what it is that Jesus' authority in the world, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
Does it mean anything?
Totally.
Does
and
it
I think
mean
that's one of the
everything?
best questions that people can ask. And Mike Goheen, Dr. Goheen, one of my professors, he would ask this question. He said at the end of the day, when we read the scriptures, the two questions should come to mind. Who is this God? And what do I have to do with him? Because that's the reality. And it's really orienting yourself, which was the starting point of whose world is it? Where are we?
Right. Who's in control?
Yeah. Who's in control of everything and who's in charge? Who's the boss of all of this? And the fancy church word is sovereignty. Yeah. But I feel like if I just approach it from that angle, it misses that like personal touch.
Yeah, because I don't think we attach sovereignty to ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
We attach control.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot of people who walk around and say, I, the sovereign Ben, declare.
No.
That's
right,
weird.
Right. But we act like that.
Yeah, we do say it all the time, just not with those words. We say things like, well, I don't want to do that, so I will not.
Right.
Whether it's good for me, bad for me, good for the world, good for others, doesn't matter. Yep. I don't want to do it, so I will not. I, the sovereign Ben, have declared no.
Yeah.
And so we live that way, even though we don't speak that way. So no, I think that was, it's much more helpful to bring it into language that I think we use about ourselves and think about.
And I do think that we are in a pretty significant age where we're redefining ethics as a culture, and
oh yeah,
I think it's important to recognize like where are we basing our authority to do that? And I'm okay with having some conversations about what's cultural and what's biblical and what's, all of those types of things. But when we put ourselves in a place without a little bit of trepidation about redefining ethics for God, that we should be a little nervous.
Yeah.
Well,
and I mean, you really can get baseline here, and this is like a Christian apologetic, really, but what's the basis for morality?
Totally.
And people like to throw out things like, well, it's good for the flourishing of society or of people or whatever.
According to who?
Right.
That's
and you're still left wanting. And so whenever I've engaged in those conversations, I'm just like, hey, I just got to be honest. That's just not really compelling. It just doesn't answer the questions that need to be answered, at least not for me.
Right.
And so, now that's your baseline. So if you're coming from a baseline of just subjective morality, sure, redefining morality means nothing.
Totally. Yeah.
It's just, again, well, what do I believe is good for human flourishing? That is my ethic.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at it as if those are God-given, then to shift or change them at all, we should really be cautious.
And it's on both sides of the conversation, because it also happens with things like a big conversation would be something like a sexual ethic. So that would be like God has defined sexuality, and a big part of the way that we live into our humanity is to live into his design for sexuality. But on the other side, it also goes to treating our neighbor as an enemy to be defeated instead of someone to serve and to love. Right? That actually is going against. And I think on both sides of kind of this moral conversation, we all the time take things that God calls good and call it evil, and we take things that the world calls evil and we call it good, or that God calls evil and we call it good, you know?
Yeah.
And we play that role. And this is what I think the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is really like at the root of it, is trying to define for God what is good and not good for me.
Well, and it's that first shift.
Yep.
Ownership
versus
or stewardship. So do I own the moral authority?
Right.
Or does God own it and I'm just stewarding it? And I think...
And I started with a pretty strong statement with that, my body, my choice, you know what I mean? Like that, and that was like, it sucked the air out of the room a little bit, you know, because it's like, we really have to wrestle with that. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to have people feel the tension of being at war with God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. And I was as we're thinking about that, because I think you had two sets of people in the room. Like, I didn't feel a lot of tension as you were saying that. And so I was like, okay, why don't I? Because I understand that a lot of people do. And I don't think the reason I don't feel tension is because I have it figured out, to be clear.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, maybe it's actually something more like I've reframed stewardship in a way that, yes, the world is the Lord's and everything in it, and I assent to that idea. I agree with that idea. But what it means in my everyday life, I've like reframed it. You know, I've made it easier to palate in a way that it's not as offensive, because I do a little bit of it. I think I do all of it.
Yeah.
You know, and so like I was just kind of wondering, what do you think Jesus's version of stewardship really looks like? And do you think we've reframed it as Christians to make it something that we feel like we can achieve or accomplish or is less offensive?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is not my will, but yours be done. You know, of just a posture of that. And dude, how many decisions do I make in my life, in my day, in my week, in my months, in my years that I do not consider God?
That's not a very nice question. I feel more tension from that question than
you know. And it was actually in my notes. I didn't get to it. I wasn't able to get to it. And really the question is, do you trust God with, and then blank. Do you trust God with your spouse, your kids, your finances, your future, your recreation? Like, do you trust God with? And at the end of the day, if I'm brutally honest, 95% is the answer is no.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. It's like sometimes.
Yeah. Every now and again, like, you know what I mean? I do. And
the few times that I do lead me to believe that I do.
Yeah.
I've taken this like, oh yeah, the glass is like 1/10 full. But I'm looking at it going, dude, my cup overflows. I'm so like, yes, everything is yours, Lord. And I live that and I breathe that. And you say it. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then I actually examine my life and I'm like, oh, but do I really have this stewardship mindset, or am I really attached to the outcomes, to my stuff, my kids, all the things, the list? And it's just like, oh, I think I do more than I'd like to realize. But I can sit it through a sermon and be like, oh, I totally agree. That's nice, David. Yeah. Good job.
God is sovereign. Yeah.
I'm a steward, not an owner.
Well, and it goes back to that quote, and I've said it here before, and it just has always haunted me. But it is... Ashley Knowles says that whatever the heart loves, the will chooses, and then the mind justifies. And I just think that there's a lot more of that where and we'll get to this at the end, but where we need to figure out rhythms and patterns to consider God in our decision making.
Yeah. Which sounds like obvious, but I don't think we're very good at it.
We're not good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're mainly good at projecting our own determined outcomes on God. That's what we're really good at. But to allow him to move into the deepest place of our hearts and question or test our desires. The Bible uses the phrase testing.
Right.
We don't love that. It sounds like schoolwork or that, but that's really what God does to move into those places of whether we really trust him and are allowing him to define good and bad for us.
Right. Yeah. The scriptures say that God doesn't tempt us. It doesn't say God doesn't test us.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like those are different things, but we tend to blur those lines in ways that aren't all that helpful to us.
Totally.
All right, last one from me. I'll give you a choice.
Yeah.
You can choose your own adventure here. Rest for the religious or justice?
I feel like we have to talk about justice.
Okay. All right. So you said judgment is how we keep others imprisoned, and justice is how we partner with God to set people free.
Yeah.
And now I was sitting there listening. I was like, that's not how I tend to think about justice. And I don't think culturally speaking, that's how people think about justice either. It's usually like retribution, punishment. I want justice for this thing that happened.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by justice being something that actually sets people free? And do you think we confuse God's justice with our desire for control?
Yeah. Yes. That's an easy one.
Duh.
Yeah, those are I intentionally I pitted those things against one another.
Yeah, it surprised me.
Yeah, and I did it on purpose. One is because I really do believe that there's only one just judge, and that's God.
Agreed.
And so I want people to remove themselves from the judgment seat. And I do believe that the Bible calls us to justice. But for an example, I remember I was on the board of directors for an organization called Win the Saints, and they their whole stated mission is to eradicate sexual exploitation in Malawi, Africa.
Okay.
Big vision, right?
Yeah.
Huge vision.
Yeah.
They're doing beautiful work. They have like 40-something, houses, rooms that have, with houses and mentorship and things. But what they didn't want is just justice for the woman, the girls. They wanted justice for the men who were imprisoned by sexual desire. And so they actually don't just rescue women. They actually have discipleship programs for men. The same men that are committing the atrocities, they want to see be freed from that. And that is the heart of justice. The heart of justice is not punishment. It's making right what is wrong.
Because I think about that and I go, oh, okay. So as you're talking, I'm envisioning they don't just want justice for these women by putting them in these safe spaces and freeing them. They want justice for these men. And I was like, prison.
No,
death penalty, like whatever. And what a beautiful reframing of justice from I think almost all of us think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's Western linear law, it's kind of just the mindset that we have. And that's not what God's after. God will have justice. And things will be made right. Things that are broken will be made whole. And God's hope and heart is to set the captives free.
Not even the imprisoned.
Even those that are in prison. Peter says that Jesus actually went to hell and set free the captives from old. That's justice. Right? The ones who were there for the right reasons, who were in prison for the right reasons, he set free. And so,
but it violates our sense of justice.
Yes.
Which is the thing. Like, just think about what I just said. our sense of justice.
Yeah.
Like if we go back to the question of morality and where that comes from,
Who decides?
who's the owner?
Yeah.
It's not me, but
Yeah.
if it is me, my sense of judgment or justice is violated.
Right.
If it's God, I just simply get to go, wow.
Yeah. Which is what makes it's so funny, man, because Jesus took on, if you adhere to substitutionary atonement, which I do,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus took the judgment that was due to us, right? So he was innocent. I'm guilty.
Isaiah, right?
Yep. He was judged for my sins and determined guilty and paid the penalty so I could go free. That is where love and justice meet in that moment. And that's what God's vision is for the world, is this love and justice. Dude, it's the same thing. I think one of the most powerful statements in the Charlie Kirk memorial service is when Erica stood up and forgave that young man who took her husband's life. Dude, that was a powerful moment. Whatever you want to say, political, whatever you think of that, like the whole rigmarole, whatever that was, like that was a powerful moment that stopped the room. That's the type of justice that Jesus brings to the earth. So different than man's justice.
Yeah. That's really good. I'm glad we talked about
Yeah,
this.
me too.
Yeah. Okay, well, hey, it's time to find out what are you low-key obsessed about, David?
Let him cook. It's time for David's low-key obsession.
Dude, I loved going through 21 days of prayer with our church.
Yeah.
I talked about this a couple times, but like in the morning or when I was on my walk, reflecting on the day or the theme of whatever we were in, knowing that we were doing it together as a church brought me a ton of, I don't know what the word is. The only word I can think of is like inspiration. Like it just, it brought life and joy and security and encouragement to like keep going. I knew I was doing something beautiful, but not alone. And I think that is one of the things that I think we forget in community, is that sometimes belonging to a community doesn't mean always doing everything together. But knowing that alongside of us in our own spaces, in our own mission field, in our own places that we work, live, and play, we have other people who are committed to the same things and the same purposes, and we're walking along. And it just, I've reflected on that a lot. We were talking about a little bit today that I feel like I missed the boat in bringing that more to the forefront of our church during this last season. And next time we'll work on that.
Yeah,
it's something that we'll figure out. But there was a couple of days in that where the overwhelming sense of togetherness, like I experienced that.
I was realizing too, there were, not every day for sure, but more than once, a handful of times I would say, where what we prayed in the morning like came about in some way during the day. And I was just like, oh wow. And we're experiencing that together, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I read in my quiet time today, and this really this is really connected to that. No, it's like, oh, we
did that,
experiencing it together. And that was cool.
Yeah. I had a couple of those moments with you. You would say something and you'd be like, and you were like, just like in our devotion, it was like, oh yeah, I experienced that too. And then, but I had multiple people that I had encounters like that with, that we were on the same page because of it. And so, and there's just something powerful. And I just, man, don't neglect the power of a unified front.
And even, we've talked about corporate worship and just like, it's not just, and I say just because like almost in jest or air quotes, because it's beautiful, even if it was just this.
Yeah.
But it's not just worshiping God.
Right.
But it's doing it in community.
Together,
a unified voice, proclaiming God's goodness, his glory, coming together in gratitude and experiencing it together.
Yeah.
There's a communal thing.
Dude, there's not even some of the most unified moments on a weekend is in worship. You got more people singing the same thing than even like when I preach a sermon. It's hitting them in different places and they're having different ideas and thoughts, even though I'm saying the words. But when we all are singing holy, holy, holy at the same time, like we're unified in a way that is unlike any other part of our weeks, as a church. And so singing it's a powerful thing.
I tell you, there's, I enjoyed leading worship, but like the times that are most like inspiring to me is when I hear the voices.
Everybody. Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa.
It's cool.
Yeah. And just to be a part of it. So yeah, that was really good. All right. How in the world are we supposed to do this IRL?
Hashtag IRL. And if you don't know what that means, you must be old. Yeah. Man, I think going back, we have got to learn how to consider God. What does God think? How does God feel? What does God say about these things? And man, the story that the Bible tells invites us into the heart of God, invites us into the mind of God, invites us into the activities of God, And so it's not like we're left without tools to be able to orient our lives. What comes against it is that war of ownership of who owns us. And if we can push back that little thing inside of us, the little 6-year-old David with the Yoda backpack, I'm going to show you, you know what I mean? Like if we can push man through that and really say, God, dude, and God's so kind to us. He's patient. That was the thing about the 3 times the message. He's so patient, kind to us. He even gives us prayers. Lord, I believe, help my unbelief.
Yeah.
Father, my spirit is willing, but my flesh is weak. Like if we could just be honest with God about those types of things, I think he'll meet us in with such grace. It says God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. He'll meet us with such grace that he'll empower us to orient our lives after him, but it takes intentionality.
Yeah.
We have to start in baby steps. Like maybe for someone listening, it's like, man, there's 3 things that we have. We have our time, calendar, our resources, which is our talents and treasures, and our relationships. Pick something. Just pick one of those. You don't have to do all 3. Just pick one of those and say, God, in this season, will you teach me how to consider you in this?
Yeah.
Like,
what's the prayer you gave? I give everything and everyone to you,
Lord. Yeah.
Like
it's a good, simple prayer.
Simple prayer.
Yeah.
That gets us on that path.
Yeah.
Because as I think about it, I'm like, man, yeah. It's like the ability to examine, like, am I really a steward?
Yeah.
Or am I an owner masquerading as a steward?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I am. And so like just
we all are.
Yeah.
Like we're all Barabbas. We're all the tenants, the ungrateful tenants, the wicked tenants. Like that's us.
Yeah. And so, but just having that willingness to be honest about it.
Yeah.
And got to give everything and everyone to you.
Fall on the rock.
That's good. Well, that I think is a wrap.
Good job.
We did it.
We did it.
You did it. You made it all the way through.
It's amazing. What's coming up next week?
Oh, man. This is probably going to be a shock to some.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a shock.
Okay.
Season finale
Oh.
There's always a cliffhanger on a season finale.
Dang.
I don't know if there's going to be one in ours. We'll find out.
There will be now.
Yeah, okay, we got to now come up with one.
Yeah.
Great job. We're going to take a break.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you're aware of this, folks, but the Christmas season.
It's upon us.
Holidays
are here.
And it's a bear if you work at the church.
It is a bear at the church.
It's a beautiful bear.
Yes, it is a beautiful bear.
It's a snuggly.
It's like a black bear, not a grizzly bear.
Yeah, and maybe even a stuffed bear. I don't know.
A teddy bear.
It's a beautiful bear. But so we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take November and December off.
Yep, and then season 2 is going to come out in January.
Season 2 in January. So,
and we have a good sermon series for 2026. Excited. We'll be done with Luke. We got some things that we're going to be diving into. So
it's going to be good. So don't miss
next week.
Come back. Season finale. And man, like us, rate us. Only if you like us. Review us.
Share.
Only if you like us. Share it. Even if you don't like it. That's good for the algorithm.
Yeah.
Man, we appreciate you guys. Have a blessed week.
Thanks for listening to Centered. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. You can listen to Centered on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube. To learn more about Mosaic or connect further, visit us online at welcometomosaic.com. See you next week.